So with that, we'll try to take a few of your questions. Again, I would ask that you raise your hand, tell me your name and the agency you represent. Joe.
This plane was on the ground for over a month in San Antonio.
And you represent?
The Courier.
Sir.
This plane was on the ground for over a month in San Antonio. Was it there for repairs? You know, major repairs were done. Was a C check or a D check done? And were the engines removed and pylons removed?
So the question for those who may be watching is, we understand that the plane was in San Antonio, Texas for approximately 6 weeks, and what type of maintenance or what type of work was done on that. We are aware that this aircraft was there in San Antonio. We have actually started to pull those records down. We have a specific group that is that has experts in not only maintenance but repair, job cards, and all of the requirements of that. We're currently downloading that information and going back, and we will actually, as part of the investigative process, we will go back even further from that to get additional pertinent details about certain inspections and checks based on the age of the aircraft. And we will move forward and we will look at every piece of maintenance that was done, even from the San Antonio time all the way to the date of the flight. So those are pertinent and important information. We're aware of it, but it's going to be a laborious process to go through everything, especially whenever you're talking about 6 weeks of being there. We're also pulling CCTV information from the field to be able to understand anything that was being done around the aircraft in the days leading up to it. Yes, ma'am.
Valerie Chen with WDRB News. There were reports that the plane was delayed that day as the engine was being worked on. Can you confirm that, and what details do you have?
So the question was, there's reports regarding delays in regard to the engine before the flight. We've queried, and UPS has told us at this time there were no maintenance work done on the aircraft in question immediately prior to the flight that would delay it in any way, shape, or form. Obviously, one of our jobs is to make sure we verify anything that we may learn through multiple sources, but nothing to this point has been presented to us to dispute that. So our belief is today that there was not a maintenance issue regarding that aircraft prior to the flight subject. Tom?
Mr. Edmond, there is some reporting to suggest that the crew of that plane they were supposed to be on a different plane, and that plane was swapped out for a maintenance issue. In other words, they were on the second plane to take to Honolulu. The previous plane that they have been assigned to may have been swapped out because of its own maintenance issue. Are you aware of that? And also, can you speak to, if there is a broader concern about the MD-11, what steps will you take to ensure that that word is spread out and maybe there's a fleet-wide inspection?
You know, each time you ask a question, Tom, you ask two. But that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. The question was in regard to the incident aircraft, and that there's been some reporting or discussion of whether or not it had been swapped out by that crew to take a different plane to on its Honolulu flight. Right now, we've not gotten any specific information on it. The good news is UPS, their flight scheduling and all of their crews are being very cooperative with us, providing everything we need. So we will go back and look at that history, because whenever a crew is assigned, obviously sometimes that's a last minute change, but with cargo operations, it doesn't happen very quickly if you have to move a lot of cargo and other things. So the good news is, again, we've got CCTV footage. We can be able to identify and validate that very quickly, but it is one part of the pre-flight information that will be part of our report. The second question was in regard to the MD-11s. And I can say this, you know, every aircraft, based on its age, the number of hours and cycles, has to go through a series of checks that have been tested and verified over many years of this plane flying. We are going back and looking to confirm every one of those checks were conducted and to verify. And sometimes in accidents like this, we may make recommendations for a different check or a different type of work to be done. But the most important thing I can stress to you, we have no problem or concern if we find something that is of life safety or that is urgent, of making an urgent recommendation. To date, we have not found anything that would indicate we need to take that action, but we have no problem making that recommendation immediately when we find information that could help the traveling public and make them safer. Yes, ma'am.
Alexis Matthews, WLK Live News. As far as your investigation and prioritizing those people who are unaccounted for right now, do you treat the plane victims and the victims on the ground the same in your investigation, or are they classified differently?
So the question is in regard to the plane victims and the victims on the ground. Let me again stress, we are not involved with the coroner's operation, the medical examiner, or the Emergency Management Association. Sometimes in the course of the way we brief families, we may conduct separate briefings just because they have a different set of questions and concerns and issues. As I said earlier today, I briefed the families of those who were on the ground. There were approximately 50, 60 people. It's a tough situation. It's hard. Their main issue is, where's my loved one? Because right now no one's been identified. After this conference, I will be briefing the families of those that were on the plane itself. So the only real differentiation for us is how they receive the information, which may be pertinent to what they need, especially in the early days of an investigation. Yes, sir.
Two more questions, please. Conroy DeLucia with WHAS. As part of the investigation into this, is there going to be an attempt to reconstruct the entire plane, or even just the left wing where the engine fell off?
So the question was, will there be an effort to reconstruct the entire plane or just the engine? It depends on what we need to do. Right now, we're recovering still a lot of debris. I was at the incident location today and spent several hours walking, and you can very clearly see a path, if you will, from where the airport was and to where the debris field is. And you can kind of see it aerially, but whenever you're standing there, you can see burnt trees. You can see molten. While we were there, one of the other engines was very prominently positioned, but it's a large item that'll need crane work to be able to bring in. As I said earlier, the number one engine on the left side, we have already retrieved and put it into a secured location. We will do everything we need to find out what happened and to figure out how to keep it from happening again. We have no problem if we need to. We've reconstructed entire planes that were in the ocean before. The main thing is that we understand this and get answers. One more question.
Tom Hanson with CBS News. First of all, Chris Van Cleve sends his regards. I just want to circle back to the history of repairs. I know that you guys are downloading that, you are sifting through that history. We've seen reports that it needed repairs on one of its fuel tanks and on a rusted part of the plane. How confident are investigators that those repairs satisfied the safety criteria for this plane to fly?
So the question was regarding some reports that possible needed repairs that were done. Every aircraft operates with what in airline, such as UPS, operates with what they call a minimum equipment or minimum requirements. The parameters can change based upon what the necessity is, because sometimes you can have something that maybe a light is out and it's still safe to fly. So there's a lot of information. The good news is we have a number of MD-11 pilots and mechanics that are all certified or instructors. Last night during our organizational meeting, the parties that were named to it and the individuals all had to give their background. We have hundreds of years of experience on the MD-11 and its maintenance, so I feel very comfortable that those experts are going to be able to see if any repairs should have been done or not. And again, if it's something we learned from this investigation, we have no problem making an urgent recommendation in order to correct the future activities to ensure the traveling public is safe. Thank you very much.